What's good, people? It's your boy, Icarus Gray. And this is Gray Area Anime, the most wonderful podcast of your day. And we are back with another one. Kirby says, hi. It's dangerous to go alone. So I choose you guys to go on this wonderful adventure of anime exploration and overall positivity. We are continuing Teach Me Senpai with episode 4 of the Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting, which means that the one, the only,
hey, listen,
BibleStudyGirl herself is back. BSG.
Hello. You see, I use my calm voice because I was gonna say it real loud. But you told me I was too loud. I'm calm.
Yep. You were. But anyway.
But it's so good to be back, guys. Okay.
I will punch
okay,
you.
Now I'm back quiet.
I will punch you. This is not your podcast. I will punch you.
Okay. I'm back calm.
I cannot. But yeah, so we're back. We're doing episode 4 today. I told you in the last episode that I think that you would really get a kick out of this episode. And I can't wait to see if my predictions were true. So let's start in our traditional fashion, which will be you tell me your experience of watching this episode. And then if you have any questions or things of that nature in the midst of for me, I'll answer them to the best of my mastering abilities. And then we'll just discuss what I thought of the episode, rewatching and all the other good stuff. But go ahead.
Let me say this first. This is a perfect example of how our personalities are so different. Because if I had a podcast where I was like, you can ask me anything, I would make you submit those questions beforehand so I can make sure that I can answer whatever question you're about to ask me. I love your confidence. Like,
oh yeah, I'm good.
Like, I'm just gonna roll with it. So that is one. And I was really thinking about that today after I watched the episode. Like, what if I ask him something like just so completely weird and random, and he's like, actually, I know you would have no problem saying I've never thought of it, or I don't know, but I don't know. Confidence is on a 3,000, bro. Okay.
Oh, trust me. Listen, when you have spent as many hours as I have watching anime, reading anime, like ingesting anime literally since, technically before 94, but like I've seen so much. Things change a bit, but like the constructs of things are the same. And I've like taken in so much information just about Japanese culture, which is separate from anime culture in a certain way because it's kind of niche. It's way more niche than what people assume of Japan. But still, nonetheless, I got the information.
You definitely do have the info. Love the confidence. Lord, give me that kind of boldness and that confidence about anything, because I don't have it. Everything, I'm like, I don't know. I'll tell you my best answer, but I could be wrong. I'm always tag that on the end. I do that at work all the time. People are asking me a question. I was like, this is what I would do. But listen, use your own judgment. Like, I could be wrong. I'm just flying by the seat of my pants here. So this episode, it gives it away at the very beginning when it tells me that it's a departure from the regularly scheduled program. Because I'm like, what is about to go down this episode? It is like, and so it starts out super weird. And to me, it was like, this is out of character. Like, why would a mafia boss? Okay, I thought several things. Number one, maybe streaming means something different than what I think streaming means when the boss is like, let's get into streaming. And I'm like, but what you about to stream? Like, it makes no sense to me. And so I had to go through like, and then I was like, oh no, he wants to be social media influencer, which is wild because I feel like the mob wants their activities to be hush hush. So why would you get involved in streaming? Like that makes no sense to me. So they were not lying from the jump when they told me this is a departure from our regularly scheduled program. And I thought it was a hilarious episode. It was definitely off cuff. Is that something that typically happens in anime? They'll just have a one off that's just, let's see how wild and crazy we can get.
Well, again, first of all, I'm going to apologize to you guys for the leaf blower that is going on outside of our apartment. There's nothing I can really do about that at this current juncture. Yeah, there's nothing I can do about that. So I'm just going to try and talk over it as best I can and apologize for any of you that are like, oh my God, please stop. Trust me, it's more annoying for me than it is for you. So to answer your question, this is your first introduction to what I would consider filler light.
Is it like when I'm writing my blog and I'm like, Lord, I ain't got nothing to talk about. Give me something to talk about. I'm just going to talk about tuna. Like,
in a way, yeah, but it's more like, so think about any of the sitcoms that we would watch, and like maybe there's like this really deep storyline that we're following, you know, the first time the teenager of the show is peer pressured into using drugs or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. And then good God, it's so annoying me right now.
It is. Talk while it's quiet.
Okay. Go, sorry. So in that, and then like the next episode is like the Christmas episode, which takes like a quick, like a random break that you're like, no, we were just dealing with like this person doing like, you know, and it's filler. It's an episode that has nothing to do with progressing the story. It's just something at all that's just fun, and it happens more often in like cartoons and stuff. Whereas everything kind of takes the I want to call it the Seinfeld route, which is every episode of Seinfeld you can just watch. They don't have to connect to the next episode. It's not like progressing anything. There are things and jokes that they'll keep throughout, sure, but storyline wise, you're not missing something if you missed episode 1, episode 5, and that's kind of what filler in anime is. It's something that has nothing to do with progressing the story in a certain way, and it might be. And I think we talk about this in the other episode with not you and I, but me and DJ Justin Sane, who is doing the Bleach reviews and things with me right now. We talk about the bathhouse episode or the swimming park episode, or like there's all of these episodes that are canon to the understanding of manga and or anime when they're doing filler episodes and things of that nature. I believe. Okay, unfrozen now. My co-host is. She was frozen for a second. I got scared. And so, yeah. So that's what this episode kind of was. I mean, the only reason I would say that it's not probably fully filler is because they do at the front of the episode, and I think kind of at the end deal with Kirishima's overthinking aspects of things, and kind of like they ground it at the end with some good things.
Right. And so I thought it was a very fun episode. I was concerned. Okay, so even though I saw the warning at the beginning, it quickly left my mind as I was watching the episode, because I spent the rest of the episode saying, okay, this don't make sense. Like, this literally makes no sense. Like, why would you put the entire organization in jeopardy to participate in this streaming empire? And you guys are popular. And I kept waiting for Yaika to be like singing the song along with him because she heard him recording it, or like breaking the fourth wall and being like, hey, what are you guys was doing in here. Like the entire episode, I was just waiting for her to be like, "Oh, y'all are the force behind this new social media craze. Like, this is cool." So it was a very entertaining episode, and I was thoroughly confused until we got to the end. And as we're analytical people. And as I kept watching the episode, I kept thinking, this has got to like not be really happening because it doesn't even make sense. Like it doesn't make sense. So when the reveal finally happened, I was like, okay, because I was fit to be tied.
Yeah. What was funny is what they did was they did basically kind of like a deja vu moment of like the beginning of how the series started with how Kirishima was out on a job, and then he's like, "Yo, I got something that I need for you to do." And then he brings Sakuragi, or I always mess his name up. Y'all know who I'm talking about. They bring him in, and it's like, "I want you guys to stream." And I'm sitting there like, "Huh? Do what now?" Like, okay. And then like I get, because people do that though. That's the thing about YouTube and streaming, and like you can find information on like so many different things that it was so funny.
Like mob families, like
it wouldn't be like that, but it would be like how they did, which is like, right. I'm telling you the information. Like, there's Lad Bible on YouTube has like ex-gangsters that are at this point, like done with that criminal life, but talk about jobs that they did and things of that nature.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
I wouldn't be one of those criminals. But actually, yeah. I would never be able to, I know this is your show, but I wouldn't be able to make it to the criminal element because I'm a snitch. Like I would tell, like I would be like, and so he did this. And so he did this. So don't put me in jail because he did it. Okay.
Listen, man. Yeah, but so it was interesting in that regard of like kind of how they set this up. It is very typical of animes, like I said, to have these filler episodes, but this one I think was done very well and still fit within what was kind of like going on with them, because it does, while it doesn't seem like something that the boss would ask them to do, it does seem like something, like that they would kind of end up in and kind of like try and figure out some way. The way that they did the videos initially is what was more out of pocket to me. But more so like after, when they're like, hey, we're not this and this and this and this, is like.
You mean out of pocket that dude was narrating the videos while
like, yeah, well, that part, and just like, let's just blur the gun and blur the knife and all of this stuff, and like the way they were kind of going about doing it. But after they had their, their apology video, like, hey, we're not really affiliated with da 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 da, and we don't want.
And when it's super viral.
Super viral, but that's how things go.
That is the way things go. Like they're trying to back out of social media, and the people love it even more. Oh, guys, you guys are. Oh, we love it even more that you're not really mobsters, which they really are. But yeah. We think you're hilarious. Keep going. Sing us a song. I would like to meet you in person.
That's the part where I think where it actually got unbelievable for me, is once they transitioned from streamers to now they have a music career, and it's like,
yeah, that was weird to me. Like music videos, the outfit that the boss has already approved this. Like, huh? What?
So it was really good. It was really, really enjoyable. Were there any other questions? Because I don't think there was anything specifically niche to anime outside of the filler aspect of it.
I don't think that there was anything that was just glaring at me like, oh, I have so many questions. I finally saw the first Black person in Japan in this episode. That was refreshing.
Listen, I can take you down that road a lot later, but it introduces you to so many different styles of anime that I don't know if you're ready for yet. So we're just gonna stay in the beginner class, because I can show you a lot of the greatest black characters in anime. I can do that.
I
But
think that would be a walk that I'd be willing to go down. It stood out to me this episode. I'm like, hey, there's a black man. Like
uh, famously, as a small aside, to give you more information on that, Samuel L. Jackson voiced has voiced one of anime's biggest black characters, Afro Samurai.
See, I didn't even know that was a thing. So I learned something new today.
Yeah.
I really hadn't thought much about black people being in the anime world because I do realize we're in Japan. Not saying that there aren't black people in Japan, but I would assume they are very much the minority. So it didn't really stand out to me until this episode when I was like, hold up. So there's a whole black anime culture in Japan.
I would not call it a
There's
culture.
more than
I'm just saying
America.
there's black anime. No, this is anime.
Oh,
This ain't, it wasn't something we made over here. It's just he voiced this character and it's the dub of the character. And there are a couple others. There's like really famous people that we always put on that list. But we'll go through that. Black History Month, we'll do that. I'll
okay.
teach
That'll
me
be
senpai to tell you about the
fascinating. I
black
will
characters.
walk down that lane with you, brother. I think that was just one thing that stood out to me. I also thought it was, the whole episode was like, okay, this cannot be real life because he's like neglecting
Yaika.
Yaika and like you said, now that you mention it, I do see the parallels. And I thought it when I was watching it about how they were finishing an assignment and the boss is like, hey, that's not a good thing that you don't have compassion. I got a new task for you, but and so they did a beautiful job of mirroring the beginning of the episode, and it stood out to me, but I didn't think to articulate it as well as you did. And that is why you have gray area anime. You pick up on the nuances and the things that beautifully knit these episodes together.
Yeah, it's a good tapestry of character development and things of that nature. I think a lot of what they're trying to show here is just Kirishima's thoughts of like, what could the boss ask me to do, and kind of how sometimes those thoughts encroach and obviously get out of control and out of whack and everything. But it was this episode was very refreshing. In the midst of everything, in the midst of the story, I thought it was really cute and cool. When I knew it had to be like a dream or something that was like false was when Yaika was apparently walking home by herself at like night.
And he was driving by, and really honestly, when I saw Yaika walking alone at night, I thought he was like hallucinating, like they couldn't literally be her because there is no way. She's 7. There's no way she would be on the streets walking alone. So I thought they were in a different country and he was just hallucinating, seeing her like, oh, I miss her so much. I've been so busy touring the world. He mentioned something about, when I get back to Japan, I'm going to blah, blah, blah. So I just assumed that they were in another country and he was hallucinating and that truly wasn't her on the street.
Girl, because what made me think it was real for a lot of points times is like the conversation when she was like, Kirishima, no, work too hard. in the way that she can prior to that. And he's like, okay, I won't. And she goes off and she's singing, I guess, the song.
Right. And see,
he was just
at that point, I was like, I don't know. That's when I was like, like I said, I kept waiting for her to break in while they were having rehearsal or filming a video and being like, oh, you guys are, dang, what's the name? Cherry?
Yeah, Team Cherry. Team Cherry. Misty.
What is the Misty? That's just like
that was the character. The Kirishima's name was Misty. It was Misty.
You're right, Misty.
Gold. Can I remember the middle? Bamboo. I think it was Misty, Bamboo, and Gold.
Right. The dude with the sign.
Gold was my favorite because that's the dude with the sign. He does not talk a lot. Regardless, you'll see that a little bit later. But oh man, it was.
I hate that they had his bald head poking through. I wanted coverage for my dude.
I will say this: you were lucky. Filler episodes are not always enjoyable for us anime watchers. Because like with my favorite anime, or one of my favorite animes, which I need to like update my list, but the one that like definitely brought me more in anime is Bleach, and it came back recently. So I've read the manga, so I know what the story is and like, you know, what should come next. They finished a fight in one of their great fights. Then they spent a whole season of filler after it. And they done that a couple times before. The reason that they do this, and why I said you're blessed to have not directly dealt with this, when you're adapting from a manga, it's very different from how certain things will be adapted in America, right?
Mm-hmm.
So by the time they're doing the Hunger Games movies, the Hunger Games as books have already finished. You know, there isn't anything new at that time, you know, minus the prequel stuff that's coming or whatever, but everything is done. With manga, it could be ongoing, and there might only be but so much information that they have, or have source material. There we go. That's the word I'm actually trying to use. So sometimes when the anime gets too close, because a lot of times they're running this concurrently, like animes be running in a way, especially when they're popular, where they only get maybe like 3 or 4 weeks, maybe, of breaks. But it's like continuously, you know, pumped out. And it's not like
it's like soap operas.
Yes, it is. That is the best description that I have not been able to think of when I'm explaining this to people. But it is like soap operas. And it's so weird to me because I'm used to like, well, why didn't they just, you know, do they not just take a season off and animate the entire thing? Like, no. Same thing with...
No, gotta make that money.
Same thing with the manga production, which is why I'm always very empathetic to the plight of a mangaka or a manga artist, because their schedule,
and empathetic to the plight of a Bible study girl who's supposed to put out new blog posts every day. I feel it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you do have an editor that be on you. So their editors, it's very taxing for them in a way, you know, like, I'm just glad that you don't have to like write your draft or write it, then you got to find a way to animate it for YouTube, then you got to, you know, and you only have like a small short team, and you have to do it every week. Like, everyday writing is still different from, they got to have a storyboard and stuff done. Then by the time
it is definitely different, but I'm saying I have a lot of empathy for anime, and this is why,
but yeah, so that's what you would normally have to deal with if you're dealing with fillers. It might not be just an episode. You might have to deal with a whole season, because the manga needs time to do however many chapters that they're going on with. The other portion I think that I've realized, and I've probably said it on the podcast before, is, and if I haven't, let me iterate for you guys. Realizing how much anime that we get is also something that I hadn't stopped to think about. So, and the same thing, because American television just seems to continuously just be going on. Like Grey's Anatomy at this point, you could literally... You would have to spend a great amount of time if you said, I want to watch from the beginning.
Yeah, I think they're 20 seasons in, so yeah.
Yeah, so, but the thing about it is, like, so say back when we were watching Walking Dead, right? They would break the seasons up, but it would be like 26 episodes.
Right.
We see 26 episodes. That's a lot. You know, we've seen things with like 13 episodes or whatever. What I never did in my mind was I broke that down into the fact that that's 26 weeks. And then in that 26 weeks, that's like, you know, if you got 52 episodes in a season, not that somebody is crazy enough that I know of to do that. Well, the animes can kind of get close to about 30 or something like that, or a little bit more, just depending. But anyway, the point I'm making is you just got a whole year of content.
Right.
A year. Like in my mind, because the numbers are so small, like we know there are 365 days in a year, but like if you break that down in the fact that they got to go do this, they got to go do that, man, it's exhausting,
It
especially
is.
if they're having to work with the manga artists to make sure that the source material or that whatever is non-canon, which is not along with the story, so it's not adding anything. It's just
Those
basically
fillers are
fake.
non-canon, right?
Some of them, like some can be, but it just kind of depends on the artist and everything else, and if they have any input on what's going on. But for the most part, and it got nothing to do with nothing. Because sometimes what I was saying about the filler stuff is they'll put that like in movies. Like majority of the Pokemon movies, or if not all of them, I don't know how many. They're all non-canon.
Right.
All of the Dragon Ball Z, or Dragon Ball Z movies were non-canon up until the last two movies that made stuff that had happened in previous movies or certain movies now canon. It's a great time because this is like not something you'd really expect to happen all the time. So yeah, this episode was great.
So the only reason you know for sure that this is a filler episode is because you've already seen the whole season. Or would you automatically know?
It's not always readily apparent.
Okay.
Because you have to have read or done something. Like if you watch, it's not gonna always be just known that this is filler. Because just because you do a bathhouse episode does not make it filler. Just means it's a bathhouse episode. It means that they're going and doing something, outside or whatever. You have to know the source material to know whether or not it is. Whether or not they're like taking a break. And sometimes they make it clear, but it's not always just so one-to-one. I think like series like Naruto in its two different seasons or whatever, or two different series, I should say, it was Naruto and Naruto Shippuden. There's like 47% of filler in these like 600 episodes.
Goodness.
Amount of episodes or whatever. And then there's like others, like I know one, I forget what the number One Piece has in terms of its filler, but like there's a lot. And that, like I said, this is with the animes that are continuously running and going. So,
Got it.
But what I thought of the episode is I thought it was an amazing episode. I enjoyed all of the laughs. I enjoyed being a person that has done streaming and will probably continue to do streaming at some point. Like knowing kind of the lifestyle and what it is you kind of have to go through. I laughed at them having a friend that was able to help them go viral, because that is something that, at least with music that I know about, in terms of like these people that having all these streaming phones to like get it to where it's going to catch everywhere that it needs to catch. It's one of my issues with algorithms in the first place is it's close to being the Matrix, man. You're trying to tell me what I should see. You're listening to conversations, like your data brokers are doing all these things to get your information without your permission. So
I wonder how you get into being a data broker. When I hear about careers that I've never heard of before, my mom is always like, "How you get started with that?" But go ahead, brother.
I want to say it all starts with coding. If you were a kid who did coding in that first like realm of learning, like what hacking is and everything else, I think that
you don't think you could have been a hacker?
No,
just not interested in the coding aspect.
No, okay. I'm not interested in like going into places I shouldn't be in that way. Like, yeah, I would go to whatever website and look for password keys for certain websites. Yes, I did that. But that would be about the extent of that. And, pirated music like everybody else during the Napster LimeWire
Napster.
days,
Yeah. LimeWire.
amongst other things. But like, hacking, not really. Like, because in my mind, I'm not like, just because I'm a nerd doesn't make me the hacker guy. I also try to like subvert expectations in that way. Like, I'm not the guy in the chair. I'm the hero. Like, I can be out here doing whatever I want to do. I'm not your
You could be a hero
person
hacker,
in the
like
back.
breaking and going into the dark web and
Listen, man.
exposing those guys.
No, I will not. I'm not playing around with them. I'm not playing around nothing dark web, bruh. Did you not watch the Don't Mess with Cats or whatever that
I
documentary is on
did.
Netflix?
I
Do you
did.
see what
Tamika's the
happens
one.
when you
I actually watched it at Tamika's house. We were putting together stuff, I think, for our cousin's baby shower, and we watched Don't F
Yeah.
with Cats.
Do you see how when they want to find you, they gonna find you?
Yeah.
Like, nah, I don't play with the internet like that. So, but yeah, this episode showed like that, and that was funny. Them dealing with people wanting to like start looking and figuring out who they were, and that's the life of a content creator. And I think that's also why the episode wasn't like so crazy to me, because I'm like, yep, this is how this happens. Like, you
Right.
start out doing videos like this, you get a little bit bigger, you're approached by brands, and then you got brand deals, and then you shift to what's gonna make you more long-term money. You might not post every day. Now you're posting once a month. You got an editor, you got a team, you're promoting new shows, you're trying to launch new things. You're a brand at this point. You went from a content creator to a full-on brand. So
You ready to be a
yeah.
full-on brand?
I'm almost there. I am definitely working on that. I mean, Icarus Gray, no response necessary, or NRN for those of you later on. It's already my publishing, so I'm about there. The wolf and the wolf with the wax wings will be. We're on our way. In
Okay.
terms of the branding of just knowing to go after your dreams no matter what. But anyway, that was a good episode. Episode 4 was pretty much just literally them streaming, and then Kirishima waking up from a dream and realizing that, of course, that would not be something
was
that the
all a
Yakuza would
dream.
do.
Yeah.
And Yaika's fine. She has a beautiful singing voice. I liked her little lullaby song she probably learned from her mom. It was just, it was cute. But yeah, if y'all want to hit us up, remember, like I didn't do this at the top of the episode, but I want to start doing this. And I blah 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 as I stumble all over my words. Thank you to each and every one of you that are listening with us every week, or you found one episode that you just loved. I appreciate each and every listener. Shout out to you. Like I said, it is dangerous to go alone, so I choose you guys, and I'm glad that you chose me. So go to youtube.com/IcarusGray, where you can listen to the music, watch my anime videos. I am a little bit behind, and I thought I was going to be able to kind of get back right this week, but I'm a young old man. I have a procedure this week, so I'm not going to be able to do the videos in the way that I wanted to, but immediately once I've recovered, we're going to get on it twofold. I appreciate all of the engagement. Continue to share with a friend, like us, rate us on wherever you're listening to the podcast, so that way we can reach more people and bring everybody into this great thing that I love called anime, and bring a positivity to it that I think it needs. And because ultimately what I want to do, just so you as the community knows, is I want to bring the representation for kids who feel like outcasts, and teenagers and college kids and adults. The places that we connect with each other are sometimes through these mediums, because we're able to see ourselves in characters. We're able to see a better version of ourselves. We're able to want more. And I want people to know that there are other people out there like you, and that we're encouraging you to understand that this is good. It's good for you to stand on the positivity, to stand on those things. The anime may be fiction, but the morals and things that are imbued in a lot of the different animes are things that can be your reality, or things that are already in you. And over here, Gray Area Anime, I believe in you guys. And until the next one, a 1 and a 2, and peace.